Somebody criticizes you at 9 o'clock in the morning. At 9:05, they've probably forgotten it. But you ever discover at 9 o'clock that night, it might still be pissing you off what they said. I'm Jack from Fed Joints and Beer Joints. And think about the criticism people lay on your ass, and then you just sit and wallow in the mire and the mud of what someone says about you. And it's easy to do. I have people say to me, a friend of mine said, boy, sometimes you really make me angry. No, I don't. You make you angry over something I've said. And I can be out there a little bit sometimes, and I'm sure I say things that probably, if you reacted that way, make you angry. I can't make you angry, and you can't make me angry. We can kind of get dashed sometimes a little bit when people say things to us that kind of really jab at you pretty hard. But I've learned things in prison and after prison that have helped me quite a bit. And the first thing that I learned about criticism and judgments is the fact that a lot of times the criticizer is saying a lot more about themselves than they're saying about you or about someone else that they're criticizing or complaining about. Take it to a prison situation. True story. Very true story. But when I was in La Tuna, FCI, down on the Mexican border of Texas, we had a lot of chomos in there, pedophiles. When you first come into prison, your paperwork always gets checked. So your paperwork is your judgment. They tell you what crimes you committed, and then everyone knows, and you show that to people. You're not supposed to have it, but they give it to you. So you show it to the shot callers. They look at it, and mine was a white-collar crime. They said, oh, yeah, okay. So you're okay. And then you have guys for drugs and bank robbery, and they're okay. If you have a case where you were getting child pornography on the internet, you're not okay. And they tell you, go over with your people and stay over there, and then you're kind of ostracized because you're a chomo. Not gay. Gays got nothing to do with that, okay? Gays are not pedophiles. It's a different thing. But anyway, we had a guy there who would come out to the rec yard and stuff and complain, bitch, poking about pedophiles all the time. And he's one of these guys who check paperwork. Tom, get this pedophile, I get them. Well, I can't stand them. And, there's a lot of them around, but I thought, this guy's really obsessed with this stuff. One day, lo and behold, we found out that being he was checking people's paperwork when they came in as a shot caller, no one had checked his paperwork. And so as someone asked him for it, he just said he didn't have it. Well, there's ways to find this out. And lo and behold, I'm sure you guessed the story, he was a pedophile. The loudest complainer in the yard about pedophiles was a pedophile. You might say, well, I bet he was embarrassed. No, he was more than that. That's how prison works. The point of that is criticizing, complaining about someone, he did that over and over again. He kept his mouth shut. No one probably would have thought about it. But you hear people say it to you all the time. They'll criticize you about things. And if you really think about it, they're probably criticized themselves. I had a great uncle who used to bitch about his one son. He said, boy, God, he is so slow. He doesn't move. He can't do this. He won't get his ass going no matter what I do. And my uncle would be telling you this, sitting back in his recliner drinking beer. I don't know if I ever saw him out of the damn recliner. But that's what he did. He criticized, and he was actually could have held the mirror up and talked about himself. Yeah, his son was lazy. That's the point. I learned about it after I got out of prison, and it was judgment then. So criticism and judgment kind of go hand in hand. When you get out of prison, a lot of things aren't handed to you. Basically, nothing's handed to you. But when I got out, I needed to reestablish my credit, and I decided I needed to get a checking account, and I had a little job I picked up at a pizza place, and I had to go to a lot of places to get a job. And, it's always, well, no, you can't, you can't hire, just don't hire felons. You put it on your application. Oh, my God, I did get a job at a pizza place by a very cool guy. But one of the places I went to, I kind of specifically went to because I knew the guy there. I thought, well, we kind of know each other. We used to hang out some. And he was in charge of hiring. And I sat down and talked to him. He goes, man, Jack, I'd like to do this. But, you're in prison. It's kind of a hard thing to get over. I said, well, I'm not asking you to do anything other than basically be a custodian, mopping floors and stuff. Yeah, but, you got to draw a line. That's pretty tough. I don't know. If we have somebody hire people in prison here. And I knew this guy, knew his history, knew it very well. And I said, really? He said, yeah. Never made mistakes in your time? I said, no. Do you know, I was there when you stepped out on your wife and had that affair for about a year with that young lady. Remember that? And who was there when you were crying and crying because your wife found out about that little affair? And he says, you're still married? You go, oh, yeah, we're still married. Now, why are you still married then? Well, my wife, I told her I'd never do it again. She knows that now. I would never do that again. I said, that's the same thing I'm telling you. I didn't get the job because I got up and walked out. But that point right there, think about it. It's always easy to poke at somebody else and tell them all the things they've done wrong. But when it lands in your lap, it's a little bit different. And your judgment of people gets very harsh when you've got something in your closet hanging there that is on you. Nobody knows about, or maybe one or two people know about. So and you can criticize me if you want to for saying that to that guy. But you know what? I don't feel bad about it. If you're going to throw it back at me, I'm going to hand it back to you. I was nice about it, and I didn't ask for a job after that because I knew he probably didn't want to hire me, and I don't care. I wouldn't work for him anyway after that because that's how he looks at life. I don't look at it that way. That's just not a way to go down the road. So if someone gets you all pissed off, you think, shut it off. Turn off the switch. But I want you to do one thing in closing. This is going to sound kind of weird. But when someone criticizes you, don't take the whole thing in and absorb it as a painful dagger. But think about one little thing. Well, maybe the son of a bitch is kind of right. Do a short evaluation after you've walked away from it. Don't sit there, take the criticism, or get into an argument. Just smile, nod, and walk away, or however you want to react to it. But think of it. Is there something to that, what he's saying or she's saying? Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. That's how you got to do it. That's how you break away. That's how you break out. This is Jack from Fed Joints to Beer Joints. And let me ask you, what's your prison break? See you guys soon.